Good evening and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus, to another First Book of Enoch reading. We shall be returning to where we left off yesterday, which was the end of chapter 11, and we shall be starting to read chapter 12 up to 16. So the story so far is Enoch has written about how the fallen angels have befallen a great sin upon the children of man, defiled the daughters of man, and taken them as wives against their will, and taught them all manner of sins, how to be prostitutes, how to do drugs, and how to create weapons. And what has happened is they prayed to God, and God has promised to send them his anointed Holy One, the prophesized Messiah, who will walk the earth on his own 2 feet and bring about the end of their reign of terror and sin, and peace and forgiveness for all coming generations in the future. So, with that said, let's carry on where we left off. Chapters 12 to 16. The dream vision of Enoch, his intercession for Azazel and the fallen angels, and his announcement of their first and final doom. Chapter 12. Before these things Enoch was hidden. No one of the children of men knew where he was hidden or where he abode, and what had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of ages, and lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go, declare the watchers of the heavens, who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with human women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken themselves to the wives. Ye have wrought great destruction upon the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin. And inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murdered of their beloved ones shall they see. And over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace ye shall not attain. Chapter 13. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds. And thou shalt not have toleration nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to all men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were afraid, and fear and trembling had seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For from thenceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift their eyes up to heaven for the shame of their sins, for which they had been condemned by him. Then I wrote out their petition, and the prayer in regard to their spirits, and their deeds individually, and in regard to their requests that they should have forgiveness and length of life. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon, and I read their petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me, and I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice came bidding to me to tell it to the sons of heaven, and to reprimand them. And when I awoke, I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping in Abjazel, which is a bound between Lebanon and Senazar, with their faces covered. And I recounted before them all the visions which I had had in my sleep, and I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to reprimand heavily the heavenly watchers. Chapter 14. The book of the words of righteousness, and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One in that vision, I saw in my sleep what I will now say with the tongue of flesh, and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men, to converse therewith and understand with their hearts. As he created and given to man the powers of understanding and the words of wisdom, so hath he created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding for the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thusly to me, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has finally been passed upon you. Your petition will not be granted upon you, and from henceforth you shall not ascend back into heaven unto all eternity, and in bonds upon the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world. And that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you shall take no pleasure in them, but they should fall before you by the sword of God, and your petition upon their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray, and speak all the words contained in the writings I have written. And the vision was shown to me thus. Behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me forth. And the course of the stars and the lightning sped and hastened me. And the winds in the vision caused me to fly, and lifted me upward, and bore me to heaven. And I went until I drew nigh to a wall which was built of crystals, and surrounded by tongues of fire. And it began to affright me. And I went into the tongues of fire, and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals. And the walls of the house were like a tessellated floor, made of crystals, and its groundwork was also of crystals. Its ceiling was like the path of stars and lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed. As I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice, there were no delights of life therein, and fear covered me completely. Trembling gat hold upon me, and as I quaked and trembled, I fell upon my face, and I beheld another vision. And lo, there was a second house, greater than the former, and the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built with flames of fire. And in every respect it so excelled in splendour and magnificence, and the extent that which I cannot describe to you its splendour and its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings and the path of the stars, and its ceiling was also flaming fire. And I looked and saw therein a lofty throne. Its appearance was also as crystal, and the wheels thereof of the shining sun. And there was a vision of cherubim, and from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun ever could, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter nor behold his face by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him so. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counsel. And the most holy ones who were with him neither did to him, nor leave by night, nor depart from him. And until then I had to prostrate upon my face, trembling with fear. And the Lord called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and walked with me, and he made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards towards. Chapter 15. And he answered me, and he said to me, and I heard his voice, Fear not, Enoch, the righteous man and scribe of the righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. And go, say to the watchers of heaven who have sent thee to intercede for them, You should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourself with the daughters of these men, and taken to yourselves them as wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons, as though you were holy, spiritual, living in eternal life? You have defiled yourselves with the blood of these women, and have begotten bad children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those who do die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they might impregnate them, and beget children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting for them upon the earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all the generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you. For as the spiritual ones of the heavens, in heaven is your dwelling. But now the giants, who are produced from spirits and of flesh, shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and upon the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have preceded their bodies, because they are born from men, and from holy watchers is their beginnings and their primal origin. They shall be evil spirits upon the earth, and evil spirits shall they always be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of earth, which were born from the earth, and on earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, and do battle, and work destruction upon the earth, and cause only trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offences for all men. And these spirits rise up against the children of men, and against the women they did defile, because they have proceeded from them. Chapter 16. From the days of slaughter and destruction and the death of the giants, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits have gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless. Yes, shall be wholly consummated. And now as to the watchers who have sent thee to intercede for them, who have aforetime in heaven, say to them, You have been in heaven, but all the mysteries had not yet been revealed to you. And you knew worthless ones, and these in the hardness of your evil hearts you have made known to women, and through these mystery women and men work much evil upon the earth. Say to them therefore, You shall now have no peace. Well, I didn't expect that. That was a serious left turn in the story of Enoch there. So what happened is the holy ones were originally angels in heaven. A third of them split off and rebelled with the evil one, were kicked out, dropped to earth. They laid forth sin, defilement and displeasure upon the humans, took by force the daughters of men to make wives. They reproduced a bunch of evil creatures called giants. And then after that they taught them how to do drugs, to be prostitutes, to go to war, to make weapons, and to go against the holy words of God. And then the men of the daughters prayed to God, and God sent them down the holy anointed one, the coming Messiah, who is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And they quaked in fear at the very thought of him. Enoch had a dream vision where he met Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ assured him that although the world was going to see a great flood, and everything evil upon the earth would be destroyed, he and his righteous seed, the family of Noah, would be conserved and then would go on to have thousands of generations, and never again would the world be flooded. As for the fate of the holy ones, they would be imprisoned in fire and sin forever, and they would be punished directly by the Holy One until the end of time. So, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learnt something. God bless you all. Good night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. And thou'st holy ones of YouTube should suffer thy terrible reading skills and stuttery words. I promise I'll improve in future. But that's all for tonight, so have a good evening, God bless you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.